I guess. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Wait.
Get it on.
Hang on, we got to get the recorder.
All right, we're in.
Okay. We now call the meeting to the Greater Lafourche Commission to order. We'll stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Mr. Lafourche. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Next, we have roll call. Mr. Mike Cully.
CD, Jackie Sheremy.
Here.
CB, Rodney R. Gisclair.
Here.
C, Jimmy Lafont. Here. CD, Rodney J. Gisclair Sr.
Here.
CD, Curtis Pierce.
Here.
CF, Larry Griffin.
Over there.
CG, John Melisson. Here. CH, Mike Cully. Here. CI, Chris Cully.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Cully. Next, we're going to have approved minutes for March 11, 2020, regular meeting. I need a motion. Moved by Mr. Larry Griffin, second by Mr. Rodney R. Gisclair. Any discussion? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have Director's Report.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. First is our Northern Expansion Project. Northern Expansion Slip C, 400-foot East, Part 2, Bulkhead, Piciola and Associates, Joe Piciola.
Yes, Sea Level Construction is the contractor. The project is substantially complete as of March the 26th. Davey and I did a walkthrough review, and everything looks good. He has a few items left on his punch list that they're working to correct now. We do have a certificate of substantial completion on the agenda, as well as a balancing change order, which is a deduction of $30,883 and an addition of 3 calendar days to his contract time.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to the Northern Expansion Slip C, 1100 East, Bulkhead, Piciola and Associates. Joe.
Yes, Shavers Widows, the contractor on this one. They are coating steel and delivering steel sheet pile to the job site. They're also working on fabricating precast concrete piles. We do plan on giving them an official notice to proceed on April the 14th. We did talk to them about issues with the coronavirus and upsetting their schedule, but they've let us know that they want to work. They want to start work on April the 14th, so they'll start driving the steel sheet pile, and then they'll back up after that and put a second crew on and start driving concrete piles. They are having some delay with the fabrication of the concrete piles because of the virus, but they're going to keep track of that time, and they'll let us know if they have any issues.
Okay. Sounds good. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to the Coastal Wetlands part, THAD.
Yeah, so basically where we're at is our deadline in turning the necessary materials was shifted back due to the coronavirus, but we continue to work on the necessary items to hopefully turn in everything to the Louisiana Office of State Parks for the Land, Water, and Conservation Fund program by the end of this month.
Working on that. Any questions for Thad? Okay, thank you, Thad.
Thank you.
All right, before I move on to airport projects, I just wanted to briefly mention that we are accepting public comments from the public, everybody watching on Facebook Live. If you get us a question or a comment through glp@portfouchon.com. We'll certainly take your comments, and if there's any questions, we will be happy to answer those as well. So just wanted to continue to say that there is public availability to get answers to questions or make comments, anything on our agenda. All right, moving on to airport projects. First is aircraft operations. Joe Wheeler.
All right, for the month of March 2020, we had a total of 1,775 aircraft operations, 8,104 passengers and planes. It is a little lower than the previous March, but most of the operators attribute that to actually more weather than anything. So if we move on to the airfield drainage improvements, the clear lien, 45-day clear lien, was completed on April 3rd, but more than likely it'll be the May meeting before we'll have that certificate for review and the final retainage payment due to all the COVID-19 stuff. And on the airport connector road and bridge, I will defer to Joe Piciola.
Okay, so we submitted our 60% design plans to DOTD on the 31st, last Tuesday. They're going to start doing their review. We have a few more things that we have to submit to them. We also have our traffic study into DOTD for approval. We've also submitted right-of-way plats and general plans to them. We've come to an agreement with the state for their permit, and we've all paid for mitigation that they required us to do so far, which so we expect to get a state permit fairly soon here. We also got word that the Corps of Engineers Engineering Division has approved our permit, so we should be in line to get a Corps permit fairly soon also. We also did submit our environmental assessment to Louisiana DOTD, and they gave us comments, so we're working on incorporating those comments right now. I guess the next thing that we're going to do is we'll probably have a meeting with DOTD to discuss the right-of-ways as soon as the virus situation is over, and then also we'll probably have some more public meetings in May or June once the virus situation's over. And I guess Bryce can talk a little bit about acquisitions and right-of-ways.
Bryce, before we move on to you, Joe, since we have now the state and Corps of Engineers permits, we should be able to utilize that to get with the Coast Guard, right? And then they should be able to issue their permit to us?
Yeah, the Coast Guard did give us some comments, and we are working on incorporating those comments, and also they asked us for more information. So I would expect by sometime next week we'll have all that stuff back to them.
Okay, good deal. Okay, Bryce?
Okay, we've been working on the title work for the remaining properties that need to be the remaining right-of-way that needs to be received. As I've been completing those, I've been sending them to DOTD for approval, and they've basically been approving them pretty quickly. So I'm looking to finalize that this week, maybe middle of next week. At the same time, we are continuing to work on the appraisals of Mr. Andrew Martin's property. As I reported on Monday, the appraisals for property that's going to be required for this project have been submitted to DOTD. I anticipate from a phone call I had on Monday that they're going to have some minor comments that need to be resolved by the appraisers, none of which should impact the market value that they came up with. So hopefully those can be turned around pretty quickly and we can get DOTD approval. Once we get approval, we would be in line to make our offer to Mr. Martin. And the rest of the remainder of the right-of-way that we're going to need to acquire, we're just waiting on DOTD's approval of the right-of-way maps so that we can move forward with those appraisals. That should be a lot quicker because the form the DOTD form that these appraisals need to follow is not as intensive as the form that we needed to follow on Mr. Martin's property.
Okay. Any questions for Bryce?
For the project.
Okay, thank you, Bryce. All right, moving on to other projects. The Section 203 Feasibility Study, GIS Engineering. Is Dustin or John on the phone?
Okay, John is on the line. We got some comments back from the Corps, but Dustin knows more about that, and even Chet, you know more about that, so I'll defer to you, please.
Right. So where we are is the Corps and the Assistant Secretary of the Army's office has reviewed everything we had through the initial phase, but now we submitted that addendum that really focuses on going to minus 30 feet in the port from authorized to minus 30, from authorization to minus 24 where we currently are. So they basically said that it was engineeringly, economically, and environmentally feasible to do what we're trying to do. So that's good. We've made some headway. The ASA's office is presently finalizing their letter, their transmittal letter that they're going to send to OMB, the Office of Management and Budget. That basically says, here's our recommendation, and then they have to review it. But based on everything that we have, all of the information we have, we actually had a preemptive meeting with OMB and the folks that are going to be reviewing this letter and the addendum and the whole report that we submitted, and basically let them know who we are, what we do, and what we're trying to accomplish. And all of the numbers from the economic standpoint and the dollars and cents of it all work out very well for us. We have good benefit cost ratios. So all of that should be moving forward, and that needs to be approved, and then from there it gets submitted to Congress so that they can hopefully put an authorization in the next Water Resource Development Act bill, which is the WRDA bill. That's where it's going to be. Verbiage is being worked on now to be able to add that into the bill if and when Congress, and I should take out the word if, when Congress actually works on that bill. We're looking very closely as to, we anticipate an infrastructure bill coming later in the year that's actually going to be part of kind of like a stimulus type bill. They very well could slip WRDA in at some point in the coming months. So we're paying attention to that, obviously, and we'll make sure we can tap into everything that's going to be available to us when that time comes. Any question on that? Okay. Next project is the Harbor Police Workboat. So as y'all are aware, we had a new vessel built, and it will be delivered. It's supposed to be delivered today, but it has to have an escort from Morgan City, where it's coming from. So it will be delivered either tomorrow or Friday. I believe it should be tomorrow. You can see that vessel was built by Hanko's Metalwork, $195,000 vessel, 12 feet wide. You can see the benches on there. It'll be used mostly as a buoy tender for all the buoys that we have 60 somewhat buoys that we have to maintain, that we own, and it's also going to be utilized. That's what those seats are for on the vessel. It's also going to be utilized for to do tours of the port that we tend to do on a very regular basis, especially in the spring and fall months. Any questions on that vessel? All right, that's all we have on our port projects. Any public comment? And we're monitoring Facebook Live to see if any comments come there, but we haven't seen any. Again, we'll take public comments through our glpc@portfouchon.com email address as well. So. One more time, any public comment? That concludes my report, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Director. Next, we have committee reports. We're going to start off with the Executive Committee. Members are Chucky Sherman, Chairman, Rodney Gisclair Sr., Mike Cully, John Mellison, Jr. First, we have consider approving the South Lafourche Levy District Lock Operations Agreement.
Okay, so we received another request from the South Lafourche Levy District. This would be the third request for this would be a third 5-year agreement. And that would be to pay the South Lafourche Levy District $200,000 a year to go towards the payment of the operations, the personnel operating the lock in Golden Meadow, as well as those same folks are the ones that actually operate the floodgate in La Rose.
All right. I need a motion. Moved by Mike Colleague, second by Chris Colleague. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motions have it. All right. Next, we have consider approving the request from HOS for a landlord agreement.
Okay, as part of some financial transactions that Hornbeck is trying to take, as well as everyone is aware of, their as part of the Chapter 11 bankruptcy that will be going. These are things that we usually approve. I'll go ahead and pass it along to Bryce for explanation before we vote.
Sure, we discussed it in executive committee on Monday night. This is typical of what we'll generally approve for tenants that allows them to either obtain new funding or refinance loans. In this case, it'll probably assist Hornbeck in restructuring and refinancing through bankruptcy. Basically, what we do is we allow them to grant a leasehold mortgage in the property, and also we subordinate, basically take a back seat to the bank's right in seizing and selling movable equipment on the site.
All right. Anybody else got anything on this? They need a motion. Moved by Mr. Jim Lafont, second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair Sr. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
And, motion passes. All right. Next we have the consider approving the request from Odyssey Marine to lease mooring dolphins number 46 to 48.
Okay, so Odyssey Marine already has a lease on mooring dolphins 40, 41, and 42. They want to have another long-term, 6 months or more is a long-term lease for mooring dolphins for 46, 47, 48. Approved.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. John Mellison, second by Mr. Curtis Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we have consider approving the request from Arriatic Marine. Consider request. Yeah, from Arriatic, right? Arriatic Marine for a short-term limited use lease on site GLF 630.
Okay, so Arriatic Marine would like to park vessels at a dock and have limited use of a 450-foot site. They really would have access to the access road plus 100 feet back from the bulkhead for their use, as well as the bulkhead. Again, that's limited use, meaning it would be just docking the vessels and putting it unloading personnel and, typical groceries, no major load-outs or anything like that, not utilized for, creating revenue purposes. This is strictly for operations of the vessels itself. So with that being said, if we do approve this, they would be also giving up their long-term lease they have on more 43, 44, and 45.
All righty. Need a motion. Okay, moved by Mr. Rodney R. Gisclair, second by Mr. Larry Griffin. Any discussion? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have a consider approving rental lease consideration.
Okay, so this item on the agenda is, we had a lot of discussion about it on Monday afternoon at a committee meeting, and we understand what's going on in the world market for oil and gas. We understand the price of a barrel of oil is low because supply and demand is out of balance. An oversupply of oil around the world, and that obviously impacts our customers, the users of our customer services, the oil and gas operators. So there's a trickle-down effect from the impact that it's having on the oil and gas operators to our service companies, which are our customers, obviously to us. So what we would recommend the board to approve is that we would do a 90-day rental consideration for base land rental, where we would let our tenants know that for the next 90 days, effective April, May, and June, that those for a basic land rental do not need to be paid, and we will add 90 days to what every lease has is a 90-day out clause. We would add 90 days to that 90-day out clause, a 180-day out clause, and we would also add 90 days to the end of the lease, so that we can, in essence, get those 3 months.
All right. I need a motion. Moved by Jimmy Lafone, second by John Mellison Jr. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is Rodney Senior. Have we discussed this with our vendors, lessees?
Yes, I've discussed with several of them, and they understand what we're trying to accomplish. And
okay.
The ones that have improvement rental know that we'll discuss further with them as well.
All right, great. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Larry Griffin. Chet cuts out my annual here. Sometimes he cuts out. Did I understand they're going to have to make this up at the end of the contract?
Well, what it would be is we're going to take these 90 days, we're going to add 90 days to the 90-day out to make it a total 180-day out, and then we're also going to add 90 days to the end of the lease term.
Okay, that's what I understood. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. That concludes our executive committee. Next we go into permits and waterways. Members are Curtis Pierce, Jimmy Lafone, Rodney R. Gisclair, and Chucky Sherman. I'll read off the permits. First we have St. Vincent Seafood. Installation of pilings and construction of riprap, peat pile, and bulk field with riprap crushed stones. Approximately 5,744 cubic yards will be impacted for fishing boat dock. Next, we have Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Let's see here. The application has requested Department of the Army authorized to clear, grade, excavate, and deep fill a dredge material to construct and maintain a slip on Fouchon Island for the Foundation Island Development Project.
Fouchon Island.
Fouchon Island. All right. And that's all we have for permits and waterways. We're getting out of there. We're going to construct.
Before, David Bro, you said you wanted to give a brief comment about projects that Weeks Marine's going to be doing for some Quipper projects on some restoration of West Bell Pass and islands going towards West Tim. You wanted to briefly give a comment on that?
I will. Yes, since it's a pretty large project that's going to be going on. It's a CPRA project, and Weeks Marine is the contractor. They're working out of Fouchon, doing some setup, and they hope to start this project by April 28th. They're going to be pumping West Belpass first. Then they're going to move to the Trinity Island section of the project. And then probably in 2021, they would be doing Timberlair Island. It's a $148 million project with about 10 million cubic yards that are going to be pumped and used to rebuild the islands going west of Belpass. So it's a pretty big project. I just wanted to make sure that our commissioners and the public was aware of it.
Thank you, David.
All right. Anybody else for permits and waterways? All right, that concludes permits and waterways. We're moving into Construction and Development Committee. Members are Larry Griffin, Chairman, Chris Colley, Jimmy Lafont, and Chucky Sherman. First, we have consider approving the change order number 2 from Sea Level Construction Slip C 400 feet East Bulkhead. I need a motion. Moved by Mr. Larry Griffin, seconded by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion?
So as Joe Piscola said, it adds 3 days to the contract, 3 calendar days. It also reduces the total project by $30,883. Recommendation to approve.
Okay. Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have consider approving a substantial completion certificate from Sea Level Construction, Slip C, 400-foot East Bulkhead. Mr. Chasson.
Everything's complete. Punch list items that is to take place without any issues. Recommendation to pass.
Okay, need a motion.
Larry Griffin, move.
Moved by Mr. Larry Griffin, second by Mr. Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next, consider the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement with the Lafourche Parish Water District for waterline extension on Minor Sherman Senior Road.
Okay.
The conference is ending.
Water District?
Yeah, that was the last thing we heard.
Okay. We have a consider approving a Cooperative Endeavor Agreement with the Lafourche Parish Water District for waterline extension on Minor Sherman Road I have a motion by Curtis Pierce, second by Rodney R. Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. I would like to say sorry that we had a little technical difficulty on the phones, but we're back on again. All right, we're getting out of the Construction and Development Committee, moving into the Finance Committee. Members are John Mellison, Jr., Chairman, Rodney Gisclair, Sr., Mike Cully, and Chucky Sheridan. Mr. Mellison.
Thank you, Mr. President. As discussed on Monday, we will waive reading the investors over 10,000, and I believe y'all all got them on your emails. So our total expenditures, including those over 10,000 this month, are $2,196,220.51. And Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion we accept these expenditures.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. John Mellison, second by Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, this concludes the financial report.
All right, that concludes that. Do we have any other business? Any public comment? I would,
Larry Griffith, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, Mr. I will do that. I just want to ask that, if you don't mind, our State Senator Reggie Bagala. State Representative, excuse me. Reggie Bagala. Would y'all please keep him in his prayers? He needs it. I don't know the situation as of today, but he needs his prayer. Prayer is really bad for him. So I'm just asking, and everybody else who has coronavirus disease, please keep him in your prayers. All right. I have a motion by Larry, second by Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion for adjournment? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. This is kind of new to all of us, so please bear with us as we try with it. But from your port commissioners and all your port commissioner staff, everyone, please keep safe for this virus we have. And if anyone needs anything, just let us know. Thank you all. Meeting adjourned.
And Chuck, I'd like to commend you on a good job. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, Mr.